Today we hosted many of our community partners to practice an emergency exercise, which was an extended power outage for our water utility.
We got together today to look at a solar storm event that could potentially hit our area. The solar storm basically knocked out power to the city of Dayton and surrounding areas.
Today we went through an exercise to simulate what the department and the city in a whole, I guess, would do in the case of an electrical outage.
What the event was really meant to do was to look at how we would be able to respond.
The reason why we exercised this was to see what our capacity is as a system if we were to lose power and what our possible actions would be to take care of that problem.
This scenario was uniquely different because it included a long-term power outage. So it's not something that would happen over a day or two or even a week. This could extend for maybe 3 months, and having activities and plans in place to identify how we would not only take care of our community in providing services, but take care of our own individual employees and their families to ensure that they can come to work and continue providing services to our community.
Today's exercise focused on energy disruption to the city, a long-term power outage, and how that was played out in the terms of how we would support the city's ongoing endeavors on a daily basis. The EOC then supports those endeavors through multi-coordination with the different entities within, say, Public Works, Water Department, Police Department, the county's Emergency Management Office, Public Health. There's a lot of players involved today.
And I also invited some subject matter experts from Department of Homeland Security as well as a former FBI agent who have had experience working with municipalities and other regions in preparing for these long-range power outages. My role in this emergency exercise was to pull together all of the community partners as well as identifying the representatives within the City of Dayton Department of Water that play key roles for emergency response.
In this event, my role was as a part of the EOC, the Emergency Operating Center. I was the coordinator for my division, what they needed to do and the items that they needed to look at obtaining, or the different generators that would be needed.
My role was within the city's EOC portion of this, representing Dayton Fire and how we would support an ongoing such power disruption.
My role was to facilitate the part from water supply and treatment and to make sure that there was communication between the EOC and my operations group.
My role in today's exercise was to support the Water Department and to represent the Water Reclamation Division. What a lot of people tend to forget, that if we lose power at our wastewater structures, that it has the potential to flood people's homes with sewer backups and the potential of raw sewage getting into the Great Miami River.
So my role today was as part of the team that represented water engineering, administration, and environmental. And for the most part, our group was in a support role. In a whole, this was important because it gave us practice on what we would do in an emergency situation, walked us through the process so that we would be able to react effectively when that case does actually happen.
So this is important to practice before the emergency actually occurs, so that when the emergency does happen, we've already established the relationships and the mutual aid agreements and other types of arrangements so that we can continue providing services to our community.
Tabletop exercises like these really test the limits of our emergency preparedness plan and allows us to find holes and gaps within those plans.
There's some things that we'll probably take back and do within the division and probably look for a generation of more power within the division and maybe look at adding more solar grids out in our area, which is something we do not currently have.
This event really drove home the point that there is the potential for extended periods of power outages. Through this exercise, we identified some deficiencies that we need to focus on here at the Water Reclamation Facility. Fortunately, we're currently in a master plan study, so some of the things that's been brought out in this exercise will be incorporated into the master plan, and will be addressed in long-term or future improvements.
We were able to identify 2 or 3 things for our division, at least, that we need to look at. One thing that came up was just opening garage doors in our sewer building. You cannot manually open the garage doors without electricity, and we do not have a generator on that building.
I think we have a lot of lessons learned, a lot of areas that we're going to go back and focus on, a lot of changes that we will make to future planning.
Our next step is developing our after-action report, which identifies the people, the resources, the time, the equipment that might be needed in order for us to fill some of the data gaps and equipment gaps that were identified from this year's exercise.
I just wanted to thank everyone today for coming out and participating in the emergency activity. This is one of the most important items that we do on an annual basis. One of the most important things we do is deliver water to 500,000 people across Dayton and Montgomery County. One of the main items, the most important items that I think we can do as a utility is to provide that comfort level for individuals and citizens that we are prepared and that we're ready to deliver service at any time, even during these events. And so this is an exercise to prove that we are. And so we'll continue to do them on an annual basis in hopes that if this ever does happen, we are able to continue with service and deliver as high quality water as we do day to day.